How's it going, everybody, and welcome to episode 253 of Master My Garden podcast. Now, this is an episode that we've done for the last few years, so it's Christmas Gifts for Gardeners, the 2025 edition. So I've done it for the last few years. First year I did it on my own, and then since then I've been bringing guests on to do it at this time of the year. And this year I'm delighted to be joined by two returning guests. So I have Rosie Maye, the Insomniac Gardener, and I have Paula, who was on the podcast from Kilgar Gardens back in June of this year. So Rosie was on the podcast as well back in October 22, which is a long time ago. And as I say, Paula from June this year. So this is a great combination for tonight. So we have two exceptional gardeners, but we also have two self-confessed lovers of Christmas. And they're also sort of partners in crime on the gardening scene, and they go to plant fairs together. So I think this will be a lot of fun. So you're both very welcome back to Master My Garden podcast.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so it's a an unusual type of an episode, but it's one that goes down really well every year. And I suppose for the last couple of years, the first year I did it, when listening back to it, I could see that it was a very male-dominated list of gifts. So there was things like leaf blowers on it. So since then, I've tried to bring a bit of balance to it, and it's interesting because different guests on different years, and a lot of the same thing comes up, but there's a lot of different stuff comes up every year, and I think it'll be interesting to see. As I said, two great gardeners, but also two lovers of Christmas. So I think this is going to be interesting. So what we'll do is we'll move from one to the other, and we'll chat about what might be a nice gift. Then we might say we'll sort of aim for money no object gift, and some other ones that might be on budgets and things like that. So Rosie, I might start with you. So you said you're a self-confessed lover of gardening and a lover of Christmas.
Yes, absolutely both. In fact, I'm chomping at the bit now to get the decorations up, but I've promised my son I'm going to wait until December. But now you've already ruined my first idea. A leaf blower.
A leaf blower.
I mean, for crying out loud, a leaf blower, fantastic present.
Yeah.
We actually, in fairness, we have about 3 or 4 of them, and we interchange them. But if you are buying a leaf blower, try and buy something that stick with the same brand, because then you can interchange the batteries, because a lot of those battery leaf blowers do run out of juice. And if you have, say, like Porrick now has every tool known to man, and need to have like torches and chainsaws and all that, but they all use the same battery, so that's always a good idea. So there you go. So leaf blower, you took the flipping words right out of my mouth.
That's a brilliant. There's a couple of good tips there, actually, because I men love tools, as you know, power tools of any sort. But there's a couple of things there. I suppose I got a gift a couple of years ago of a leaf blower, and I suppose this is the same for all presents. I wanted a leaf blower.
Yeah.
But the brand that I got as a present, I would never have bought myself. Right.
Yeah.
So I suppose this is going to kind of ring true when you're looking at any of the presents. So I would, as I say, I would never have bought it for myself. It's fine, but it's not the one I would have bought myself. And I think what you've said there is a very good idea, that if you are going, now mine is petrol, but if you are going battery, definitely try and stick with a brand, whatever that is. And there's so many good brands out there now.
Yeah.
And there's actually more and more coming on the scene all the time, but there's so many really solid brands. And if you're able to stick with them, then as you said, your batteries are interchangeable.
Yeah.
You can sort of build your collection over time, and you can end up with all the bits and pieces that you might need. So yeah, that's a good tip.
I mean, we've a lot of leaves here. We've a lot of old trees. We're very lucky. But we've literally just finished making, putting all the leaves into, bags for leaf mold. But we have the backpack one, but then we have the hand one. So the backpack one is a petrol one, but the other ones there, it's a battery one. It's fantastic because I can go in and rob batteries from other things, So,
yeah. And what brand are you using?
That is a very good question, and I wish him indoors was here. It'll come back. All right. Hello. It's not still. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, no problem. There's pretty good ones out there.
Yeah, it is very good.
How would you feel, Paula, if you got a leaf blower as a Christmas present?
Would be impressed now, to be honest.
Good woman, Paula.
Now that we are on tools, though, I do have a favourite.
Yeah.
I just couldn't be without. And definitely over the last few years, like my way of thinking is, how do I make life a little bit easier for myself? Take the hardship out of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the right tools are definitely like a godsend.
Yeah.
I have one. It's a little hand chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
I mean, it's just amazing for
Yeah.
really hard pruning. It really cuts through anything. So yeah, that makes light work of like I don't have to use a saw anymore.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So
Yeah.
for anyone just listening rather than watching, that's a steel handheld chainsaw.
Yeah.
So it's like operated off a little 5-volt battery.
Yeah.
Has like a 6-inch blade or something. So that's
light and fantastic thing.
Yeah, that's
my
brilliant.
next favorite is like I do all my cutting back with a hedge trimmers. So all the perennials just down to the ground with a hedge trimmers. And for years I was using a petrol.
Yeah.
So every time you're stopping and starting and you're stopping and starting and you're pulling the cord to start it. So I got myself a battery one. And it's I wasn't clever enough to get all the same tools, the same name, but the DeWalt one.
Oh, DeWalt, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Like you can just stop it and start it, and clear ways are going around. It's quick and easy and fairly powerful. So my go-to things.
I think they're great now. It's brilliant that we're on tools so early, because last year I was getting slagged for talking about tools, but yeah, no, this is brilliant, and it makes sense because a lot of the battery stuff now is light, but it's extremely powerful. So if you are, as you say, cutting back perennials, it's light. You're not needing petrol. You're making no noise, which is another thing. It's a factor here anyway, because I know I like to get up early on a Saturday morning and make lots of noise with tools, and I get et for it. So battery power.
Yeah, less fumes as well. Like less fumes from the petrol. A wide range now, and they're taking over, I think, from the petrol machines. So yeah,
you can use them for, I'm always going in and robbing some of the tools. Like I use hedge trimmers sometimes for, every 3 years for cutting rose bushes, for cutting epimediums. I just cut the whole lot at the and so it's really handy having the battery. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. So and like there's so much you can get now: your strimmers, your hedge cutters, your little chainsaws. There's literally every tool that you could want, you can get now. So yeah, that's brilliant. So we're off to a good.
You're delighted with the tools.
Yeah, we're off to a great start on the tools.
Will we get on to robot lawnmowers now, will we?
No, that's on the list. That's on the list. I don't think it's a Christmas present though, really.
Making your Christmas.
Yeah, I'd be delighted with it. Absolutely delighted.
That's your therapy gone though.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
It's funny. We're going off topic now, but when you talk to people about lawns, some people absolutely love cutting their lawn. They love going out and sitting on the lawnmower. They love going out and putting the stripy bits on them. I like a lawn, but I can't stand cutting it. I really can't.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, well, everyone's different, but I would be delighted with a robot now, I have to say.
Well, I think it's always good to change from tools. So here's one that I want to show you, which I look present. I mean, I have a list here as long as my arm.
Good.
Between different gifts for, and like you said in the introduction, it depends. It depends on the person. Obviously, it depends on the recipient. I can be guilty of giving some of my best friends who are maybe not as passionate about gardening as I am, and I tend to give them plants and I give them pots but sometimes you can actually pot up bulbs, like we were talking about tulips earlier on. Last year, a friend of mine who's a nurse, I potted up. I found a tulip called Healthcare, and I bought a whole load of them, and I bought her a really nice pot, planted them in it, and gave them to her and then it was like a living present. It came up, and she was thrilled then in the spring because it was a nice pot. She could reuse the pot, but she had the tulips then in the spring, which was nice.
And that's a lovely idea, because this is not specific now to gardening gifts, but I think at Christmas, there's so many presents that, you know, we all have our family Christkindles, our work Christkindles, our €20 present or €50 present, and people go out with a list and you just check off stuff for the sake of checking it off. But with something like that, there's a little bit of thought in it. You were very lucky to find a name that matches her profession, and you know it's a really nice, as you say, living present, but it's a thoughtful present. And I think that's important on a few levels. It's important, obviously, from the point of view of, you know, giving a gift with a bit of meaning, but it's also important, I suppose, not to be, you know, when we're buying and gifting, and that we're kind of doing it with a little bit of thought, and maybe buying good quality stuff that is going to last, so it's not thrown away the week after Christmas and never picked up again. So I think that's a brilliant gift.
And it's funny because just, you know, on bulbs, and like you mentioned a name there, like, you know, obviously I got healthcare, but I've also given snowdrops as a gift, because you can sometimes find people's names, you know, in snowdrops. But
Yeah.
there's actually a lady I know up the north, and I'm going to show you this because
Yeah.
can you see those?
Oh yeah, class.
So they're actually resin snowdrops, and they're in a lovely crystal vase, you see.
Yeah.
And she does she does roses, she does muscari and various things like that. So they're online, Rosabelle Plant Supports.
Ah,
But you know, Rosie,
Rosie was on a couple of weeks ago.
actually, Rosie and
Yeah,
Paula.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
for goodness sake, well, there you
Because
go.
brilliant,
It's
yeah, because she
beautiful.
spoke about, on the podcast, she spoke about her resin flowers,
They're
and
beautiful.
they're absolutely beautiful. So realistic looking and
Yeah.
dainty, and yeah, they're gorgeous. Yeah,
And they
really
last all
gorgeous.
year. So there you go. So that's and then she does beautiful, I mean, I'm her biggest fan. She does, or they do these wonderful, they made lovely arches for us.
Yeah.
And you can get, you know, just stakes, you know, the stakes, sometimes some of them have like a butterfly on the top, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah. So where I came across Rosie was at Buds and Blossoms this year,
oh, yes, yes.
and it was lashing rain, and I passed by the stand, and there was nobody on the stand. They were gone for the lunch or whatever. But they just really caught my eye. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of real sturdy arches, and you know,
Yeah.
you see sturdy arches from time to time, and they look sturdy. But these just had a little, as you say, a little butterfly on top or a little flower on top, and they just looked classy.
Yeah. Well,
And
and she does ship, you know, she can post all over the country. So
yeah, yeah,
very
no,
good.
brilliant, brilliant, yeah,
I was at Buds and Blossoms as well. So
yeah,
I've met her at a couple of different festivals and things like that. She's fantastic.
yeah, brilliant, yeah, brilliant.
And Mark, of course. Sorry, I'll have
Yeah,
to.
I don't know Mark, but yeah, I heard he's the
Yeah,
sort of, she comes up with the ideas and the designs, and then he does the mechanics of it in the background. So yeah, the teamwork.
I just think that that's really, it's a thoughtful gift, and I think, you know, it's also very useful. You know, like, because,
Yeah,
you know, plant supports, we all need those.
yeah. And again, it's one that's going to be quality, so it's going to be there in
Yeah.
30 years' time, and you can say that I got that gift, you know, from such and such. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, really good. And I think I'm right in saying, Paula, that you use some of those plant supports as well. Am I right in saying that?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I have a lot of that steel running through the garden, so I get them made locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like, it lasts forever, and I don't treat it or anything. The rusty look is natural looking, and yeah, I love anything steel like that.
Yeah. And again, if you're buying something like that, as you say, it's there for years. So
exactly, yeah.
it's a really,
No,
it's
there's
really
no
worth.
means.
Yeah, exactly. Really worthwhile gift. So we'll go back to you, Paula, on this list. What else have you got?
Well, I've got something a little bit more, probably, well, it can be male or female, but the flower trug. So the flower
Oh
trug.
yeah. Yeah, class.
So you can get this on Connecting to Nature
Oh yeah.
website. They have them already made up with stuff in them, but you can just make your own. So inside I have it literally full with stuff. So I have seeds, packed the seeds. My favorite hand cream.
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah. So you can have your twine, your labels. I've some aromatherapy stuff, dead sea salts for your Epsom salts for your aches and pains after gardening. And these, like, I just love these during the winter. They're cuffs.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So this is like, right, so the trug itself, I thought the trug was initially the gift, but
Yeah, the trug can be a gift, but
yeah, the trug,
it's like a hamper. You can make a hamper with it.
yeah,
I mean, the
brilliant, yeah.
trug itself is lovely. You could fill it, so many ideas. You could fill it with all your dried flowers. You
Yeah,
could
so,
fill it with, if you go to the garden centres now, you can get all the little small pots of the hellebores and your hyacinths and your snowdrops. So picture that
yeah,
full with all those little plants inside them. It would be lovely. But whether you're male or female, I have beeswax candles in it, aromatherapy stuff. Shirley Lanigan's book, The Open Gardens of Ireland. So really think outside the box. You can put novelty stuff in it, like I have a mug in it. You could put a little whiskey bottle for your hot toddy at the end of a really cold day in the garden. So yeah, it's a lovely sturdy basket.
yeah.
If you didn't want to go to that expense, you could just do it in the gift box. But I mean, there's so many different things.
Yeah, that's a brilliant package now, because
Well,
I've
things I like. So
yeah, no, and it makes
yeah.
sense because, and as you said, male or female, because I've talked about Christmas hampers before, and you think about, you put in maybe secateurs, you put in seeds and different things, but again, not everything in it is going to suit everybody. So if you already have a secateurs, chances are you might want another one. If you grow vegetables and you don't grow flowers, the seeds mightn't suit you or whatever. But in there now, that's a brilliant one. So the trug itself is a good gift because everybody will use that.
So.
As you said, the cups, that's a brilliant idea. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, well, if you don't like wearing gloves,
Yeah.
I mean, they're just the best thing for heat. They heat your arm up and keep your body really warm. I wear them all winter.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Kind of fantastic, yeah.
And then the Epsom salt, that's a good one as well, because
we all like that.
yeah, everyone liked that at the end of the day. And the mug is a great idea. So yeah, that's a lovely hamper. Really good.
I mean, there's so many things you can put in it. You could put tools in it either. And if you really want to personalize it and you had your own seed packets or your own little cuttings or whatever, your fuzzies, snowdrops in it, you could really personalize it. So yeah, it's versatile, I suppose.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a very good one. Yeah, for sure. Rosie, what have you on your list next?
Well, actually, I received a gift only recently, and they're the best thing ever. Kind of leather gloves, because I've got every gardening glove. I always am amused if you do look up gardening gifts for Christmas.
Yeah.
You get all these pictures of little gloves with little pink flowers, and then a little trowel that would break the minute you put it into the soil. So they're no good to me. And I've loads of just work gloves, which are, they fit really, they're tight. But when you're trying to pull briars or anything like that out, stitch or nettles, but particularly briars, or even cutting, gathering up roses. Now they're not as flexible. I mean, they look huge, but they're not. But they are just fantastic, because once you put them on, nothing is going to get through those. So if you do extreme gardening, like I think Paula and I both do, I think they are fantastic. And you could always give these and then maybe make it up with a set of, the more fitted gloves, which are fantastic. And a friend of mine, that same friend who's the nurse, she actually told me a really good tip. She said to put the, the little kind of plastic gloves that you see them using in settings all the time. If you put those under some of your lighter gloves in the winter, when you're going to get really, really wet, they actually keep your hands dry, and it doesn't matter then if the exterior gets wet. So you could do a little package of gloves, because let's face it, and I don't know about you, but I put one in my, the way you take one off to maybe have more dexterity or something, and then you leave down a glove. So I have gloves all over I have them in the shed, I have them in the polytunnel, up in the veg patch, I have them everywhere, you lose them.
Yeah. And it is true that you probably need, like, being realistic, you need different types of glove as well. Because you do need, if you're a glove wearer, and I generally don't, but if you're pulling briars or something, you need something. But if you are a glove wearer, then you're going to need something that's, if you're doing any pricking out or something like that, you're going to need something with a bit of dexterity in it. then you're going to need something for, you know, if you're digging, you're going to need something tough with a bit of work in, and then obviously you need thorn proof for jobs like that. So yeah, they're a brilliant gift. What brand are they, or have you used them yet?
I have. They're Kent and Stowe, so they're
Brilliant.
just, that's, you know, like they do all, and in fact, you know, they do the forks, and they do.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Again, I mean, I don't want to you know, have the little pink trowel with the flowers on it. I want to have something that's going to be really good. So we're
Yeah.
back to tools again. But like, we use them as a gardener. If you're a gardener, you know, that's what you're reaching for all the time, for forks, spades, you know, trowels, secateurs. This is actually one that I use. It's Spear and Jackson. And
Hmm.
I actually happen to have a small hand. So I find a lot of the secateurs, I just find them very hard to work. And you can see this one is well used. But what I really like is that, you know, when you close them, this actually does work.
Yeah.
It stays in place. And then,
Hmm.
and that's another thing that's really good. I actually, I can't find it at the moment. It's probably in a flower bed somewhere, but I have a tool belt, and it's fantastic. If you have a tool belt that you can clip on and just, you know, put your gloves, put your secateurs and your phone, for when you're taking photos, when suddenly the sun comes out, you know, that's just really handy to have that, you know, when you're going around the garden. But I just find this particular make, see, look, it's just perfect for my hand.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah, so on my list, I would have, again, I
yeah,
tool dominated here, but I have Felco on mine, and like they have, I have Felco too since I was in Warrenstown back in the 90s, so that's a long time ago, and I think I've cleaned it a couple of times. I might have changed the blade once, but that's it. But they do a range, so within that, then there is one for kind of small hands.
yeah,
And ladies particularly do like that, because a lot of the other ones, they do have that long handle, and they're a
yeah,
bit clunky.
yes,
They're nice and they work well, but they're just a bit clunky. So that's why the you know, the small fitting one is a really nice one. They also do one for left-handers, which is quite unusual. So
yeah.
um yeah, so that's another brilliant one, yeah, for sure. Now, Paula, what's next on your list?
Yeah, we're staying on tools for a
Oh
minute.
Lord, this is
Uh,
brilliant tonight.
yeah, so one of my favorite spades, the root slayer,
Oh,
just fantastic. So you'll see the end of it there. It's a
Oh, serrated edges on it.
serrated edge, and it just really digs into, like if you're moving shrubs or digging into hard ground, it's fantastic. Plus at the top there, like it has a good, you'll see good top
Yeah, good
for your boot.
wide
Yes,
wide.
you're not like feeling it on your feet when
Yeah,
you're really digging it in. So I think that's fairly new on the market, but
Is there a brand on it?
Radius, that is.
Root Slayer. I've never heard of it,
Yeah,
but that
root
that looks
slayer.
like a,
Yeah,
yeah, I'd love one of those.
definitely recommend that. And I'm definitely with you on the tool belt, Rosie.
yeah,
Especially like if you're going to pay money for a Velcro, which you
yeah,
need to do, like the cheap ones. You
yeah,
go through 5, 6 cheap ones for
yeah.
one good, decent secateurs. So yeah, you need a belt, or else it'll be going in the wheelbarrow and then going into the compost. So yeah, done that.
Yeah, that's a Felco 5, I think you have, is it?
Yeah, I have big hands, John. Long fingers, so
Yeah,
it's fairly big. I have a smaller
yeah,
one as well. But yeah, it's bigger for pruning roses and
yeah.
other stuff. So yeah, I love them.
Class. We're definitely staying very much on tools here.
I'm finished with tools now.
Oh, you're finished with tools, right?
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna soften up here a little bit now. So
We are, yeah.
we'll stay with you, Paula. What have you next on your list?
Books. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah, I know we're all online now, and we're all looking up Pinterest and stuff for ideas, but there's a few books I love. This one, The Flower Hunter by Lucy Hunter. Like if you're into growing your own flowers, there's beautiful images in it on how to just pick flowers and foliage from the garden and arrange them in your house. There's nothing complicated in it. They're all just loose and lovely natural photographs in it. It's mostly, I suppose, it is kind of flower farm based.
Yeah.
that it's a very pretty book. I love it.
Yeah. So what's that name again?
The Flower Hunter.
The Flower Hunter by
Yeah.
Lucy Hunter, was it?
By Lucy Hunter.
Brilliant. Never. I haven't heard of her, but that sounds good. Yeah.
I think I got it in a book. Another book I love, and I've had it for years, is The Thoughtful Gardener by Ginny Bloom. So it is.
That book has come up on the Christmas gifts before. I don't have it. Yeah, but
it's a lovely visual book.
Brilliant.
Just flicking through, lovely photographs in it, and I suppose it's very natural style planting, loose style meadow style planting, and country cottage style. But yeah, I refer to that book a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely, like, I've said it before, I think books in general, like they're going, onto Kindles and audiobooks and so on. But I do think that gardening books is slightly different in that there's the imagery is vital, and people really do seem to buy and keep going back to a good gardening book over years and years and years, whereas other books that you kind of read them and they're done, but they're more of a reference point for years and years, aren't they?
And I definitely think, like, I'm a visual person, so for me, if I'm picking a book, I'll just, it's the picture, it's the photographs in it that will make me go to it. And those two books are definitely
brilliant.
They're beautiful.
Any books on your list, Rosie?
Oh, I've a million gardening books. In fact, Paula just showed one there. I love that Shirley Lanigan book because it is great. When you go off for the day and if you, gardens to visit, but there's definitely, Jimmy Blake's book is fantastic, a beautiful.
Yeah, Beautiful Obsession. Yeah.
TJ Marr recently published a book. So, but I have to say, a lot of my favorite one is still Helen Dillon's. And I don't know whether you can get it or not now, but I was actually given it by another gardener. And sometimes that's really nice to pass on something that, maybe you have used or something. I had a couple of books, they were for small gardens, and I passed those on to a friend of mine, seeing as I got my wish and got a big garden. But equally, while we're on the subject of reading and books, you could give a subscription. So I always do this, and now I'm a member of the Irish Garden Plant Society, and that's a really good subscription to give to somebody. You get magazines, you get a newsletter 3 or 4 times a year. You get an e-bulletin, and then once a year you get to request free seeds, because gardeners like me, I donate seeds, and then it's just, you might get seeds that you mightn't get somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's very good. And then you get to visit gardens with the Irish Garden Plant Society that you wouldn't maybe normally have access to, because a lot of them are private gardens that just open for that. So that's just an idea, a subscription.
That's a brilliant subscription.
It's a really good society, and it's actually was set up for the like to help preserve Irish heritage plants. So that's another aspect of it, that and when you go to the plant sales, maybe once a year, I think it's in October, our one in Leinster, and you get to buy plants, and a lot of them are cuttings from a lot of the gardeners, in Ireland that have taken over the years, and you can get to buy some of those. So that's just I think it's really, really brilliant. And then the other one, of course, is for the Irish Garden magazine, slightly biased, because I write with them, I contribute to them, but it's a great magazine, and you get, if you can give a subscription to somebody, because you might forget it 1 month or something like that, and it's just nice because it just arrives in your door.
Yeah, and I think that's a lovely gift, and it did come up last year, I think, or the year before, I'm not sure, but it has come up before. And I do think that's a nice gift, because that as you say, it's going to be a little welcome surprise.
Yeah.
4 copies a year, and a nice surprise coming through the door, and something over the course of the year. So it's not just give it today and forgotten about tomorrow. It's something that's going to arrive again and again. That's nice. Yeah, that's a lovely gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And this is my Porrick managed to find my that's why I was asking him to bring it in. That's my belt. So,
the tool belt.
yeah, tool belt. And it's really simple because you can see you have another one of those things in there, but then you could put a pen and you can put, you know, there's a
Yeah.
phone and stuff like that. So that's
our handbag, Rosie.
right, that's it. More use than my handbag, I can tell you.
Seeing as we're on books, I knew books were going to come up, and I was thinking to myself earlier on. So a lot of gardeners in Ireland have books. Is it on the agenda for either of you?
I keep being, yes, I'm being asked quite a lot by a particular friend of mine, and I'm like, when exactly would I fit that in? But anyway, maybe, yeah.
What friend? Would that friend be here?
But it's funny. It is
So
funny.
it's a possibility.
Can you just imagine? Imagine it'd have to be about that size. And I'd never be able to edit it.
Yeah, but I suppose that won't be your job. That'll be someone else's job to
That is
chop it
very
down.
good point.
Chop it
There you
down.
go.
So you make it big, and then they'll make it.
You can keep my feet on the ground, Paula.
She's going to charge her a fortune, whoever that editor is. She's going to earn or go, I can tell you.
What about you, Paula?
Write a book? No.
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 You can illustrate it.
Yeah, I do that.
Okay.
I would illustrate it.
I'll write it and you'll illustrate it because you're an artist.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds better.
That sounds like a commitment.
Yeah, there you go.
Watch this space.
Yeah, for sure. So on just to go on to plants for a second, right? So what's your thoughts, both good gardeners, both with well-established gardens, what's your thought on receiving a gift of a plant of some sort? And the reason I ask is, I know if somebody was starting out and, you know, was only starting a garden, then a nice tree or a nice rose or something like that could be a nice gift. But for someone like yourselves, I could be wrong, but I think you wouldn't love to get a present of a plant. Am I right in saying?
I personally think there's a bit of pressure involved in getting a plant or a tree if you're not a good gardener, because what if it dies? You know, and that's being negative. But like, if you are given a tree or a plant to a gardener who's not, just somebody who's not an experienced gardener or just doesn't know what to do with it,
yeah,
that's a risk. But having said that, like, I think getting a tree is an amazing present.
I do.
And if I was given a tree, it would be a cornice, one of the cornice-cousas.
Cornice, yeah.
Yeah, when that flowers every spring, you're going to remember that person and the person who gave you that tree.
Yeah.
And like, if you're starting your garden and, you know, somebody, you know, a good gardener who knows their plants and knows their trees, and they give you something special like that, I think it's a fabulous present.
Yeah, for sure. The reason I said that would you like to get it is that I had a very good gardener on the podcast a couple of years ago, and they mentioned getting presents of, and they're quite fussy about what they put into their garden, and they mentioned getting presents of plants. And it's a bit like me with the leaf blower. I wanted the leaf blower, but I never would have bought the brand that I got. And it's a little bit the same. So that's why I was saying that it would kind of need to suit where you're going to put it. And you'd need to, like most people, like you guys will go and you'll nearly always have a place for something when you buy it. But it's gifted to you, it's kind of pushed upon you as such.
It is. And plus, it would fill me with dread if my husband went and bought me a tree, because God knows what he would come home with. So just, you know, you'd have to, if you were getting it from somebody who knew what they were buying and knew it was going to be a special tree or something that would suit your garden, I think that's a better way to go about it.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten presents, loads of presents of plants. Now sometimes they're a bit, you know, it might be a bit dubious, but I personally love to buy plants as presents, especially for my husband, because then guess what?
He has to look after it.
No, because I end up with the plant. When I have people visiting here, I always say, and I gave this tree to my husband for his birthday, and they all look at me, and then I say, he didn't know he wanted a tree, but he got a tree, and then he gets them for his anniversary. And in fact, one year for Christmas, I was so romantic, I bought him a sack truck.
For moving your pots.
For moving the pots. I tell you, that's the most, it's not quite on the tools level, but anyway. But no, I love, and not just for Christmas, I love giving plants, in fact, as wedding presents. And like Paula, the cornus, but I buy the cornus controversa variegata, the
The wedding cake tree.
wedding cake tree, which is a bit of a cliche, but it seems to be well received. And I think it is a lovely thing to give to somebody, because, you plant your tree and then hopefully don't kill it. And in a couple of years, you've got this like pink beauty in your garden. So it is nice.
Yeah, no, I think so. And like when you guys are picking, you know what you're picking, and there's, as you say, a meaning behind it. So it makes sense. As opposed to, someone picking it up on the way out of the supermarket on the trolley at the door. Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that.
There's another little thing I just had on this list here, which, before I forget it, is just before, it's on the tools as well, sorry, but an oscillating hoe.
Oh yeah.
Quick crop, they do, if they sell them online.
Absolutely.
I'm always telling everybody, just order them, and God, it's fantastic, so
fantastic. Yeah. So so even in the vegetable garden, it is a phenomenal tool. It's without a doubt the best hoe that you could get. So easy to use, light, but really effective. Really, really effective.
I didn't bring it in. I couldn't put that on.
Yeah, the angle will be difficult. Yeah. No, that is a great. It's a great gift. I'd be delighted getting that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're sorting your Christmas out anyway.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what's nice as well? And I love them. And my long-suffering brother, for the last few years, he's built me up quite a nice collection of. Do you know the jar point? That crystal, the glass.
Yeah.
They make these lovely. They make two things for the garden: spheres, and then they make these lovely kind of spirals, and they're blown glass in lots of different colors. And what I do is I put them on a metal stake. Group them together, and they can just look absolutely fantastic in amongst your plants.
Brilliant.
Jar point crystal. If you look them up, they're fantastic.
And so I know jar pound crystal, but
they do glass.
They do all the vases.
A little tiny section. There's and it just says garden. I think it says garden ornaments or something. And there's spirals and little glass orbs, and they're brightly colored. They're very cheerful.
Brilliant. And how big are the spirals?
They're only about whatever, 6-7 inches, but they're lovely, and they kind of come to a point, and then you can either stick them on a bamboo or on a metal stake, and just stick it into your flower pot or into the bed, and they're frost proof, but maybe the wind might get them in the winter, but I bring them in the winter.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that they would catch the sun.
Yeah, no, they're fine for that. No, they're really pretty, and it's a nice thing because it's for your garden, but it's you're not going to kill it.
Yeah, yeah. No way of killing it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's nice, and definitely not something that we've that has come on before. So that's a nice one.
Well, these are all the things that I love to get. So
I'll have to send the episode to your husband afterwards.
There you go.
So Paula, what are we next on your list?
I'm moving on to vouchers, and I've lots of ideas for vouchers. Today I was just on with the Dublin Garden Trail. I'm part of the Dublin Garden Trail, and this year we're doing up a voucher
Nice.
where you can visit like 3 or 6 of our gardens. Most of the gardens on the trail are on this voucher that you can get. So you can contact me or Dave in the Victory Garden, and we can send out these vouchers to you. It's a much cheaper way of visiting 3 gardens or 6 gardens, or as many as you want on the trail.
That's brilliant. So let's just name the ones that are on the trail, just so people know. And like, some of them have been on the podcast before, and like, that's a really good gift. And last year, one of the guests actually wondered, as we were talking, it came up, and she wondered, was there like an open voucher that would do the whole country? And I don't think there is, because the groups are not all together, but it's a really fantastic idea to be able to.
We only came up with the idea today, so we didn't get in contact with all the gardens.
Yeah.
But you can just go onto the Dublin Garden Trail website,
Yeah.
All the gardens are listed on that. So there's the Ardan, Victory Garden, June Blake's, Jimmy Blake's, mine. There's, I think there's 14 gardens on it altogether.
Yeah,
so,
brilliant.
Most of us are on this voucher. So it's just a nice way of sorting your summer out. You can have your list of gardens and you'll just get your voucher ticked as you're going around each garden.
Yeah, that's a really nice one now, and they are like they're class gardens, but it's a day out for somebody. It's a day out for a group. And you'll have fun. You'll see lots of good gardens, and you'll see variety in that.
They're all different gardens, and I mean it's a way of making your list for the summer, and giving somebody the voucher. They're going to make that list for the summer, and hopefully take the gardens off their list. But
brilliant.
The Dublin Garden Trail, they're all exceptional gardens. So it's a really lovely present for somebody.
Brilliant. You mentioned lots of vouchers. What other vouchers have you?
So I have I thought of the Snowdrop Gala that'll be coming up in January in Altamont. Altamont are running it.
Yeah.
So there's tickets available on the Altamont website.
Yeah.
So that's a lovely day out. Workshops, Cool Amber, they advertised their workshops this week. So
saw that actually, yes.
So they have a year's plan of all different courses there. There's beekeeping, there's foraging and craft, beginner's gardener courses, floristry courses. So there's something there to suit everybody.
Yeah, there was a lot of nice courses on that. There was, as you said, there's a mix. There's the gardening ones. Klaus Leitenberg was there one of the months. Anne-Marie herself is doing a month-by-month beginner's gardener course. There was beekeeping, as you said. There was wreath making. There was wine tasting, I think cocktail making. So there was a lot of variety, and something I think that everybody would like. So
exactly, it's really lovely, and like it's a lovely place to go just for the day. I think these are pretty amazing apart from the courses. So that would be a really nice voucher.
Yeah.
And then like you have your garden trips, tours, if you really want to splash out with the travel department or Jimmy Blake's tours. Who wouldn't like that for Christmas?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then like if you were really, really good and you planted all your bulbs, you could get a ticket for Chelsea.
Are you hinting at anyone?
I am. that hint is dropped every year. So like, that's my Christmas present, to be honest.
Yeah. So trip to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Something to look forward to. Your ticket for Chelsea, or your flights, or something related to you going to Chelsea. It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's a nice one, and that was on my list, as well as a trip to the Tulip Festival in Amsterdam.
I mean, that's just scratching the surface of all the vouchers that's out there, and like it's really important to support all, especially in Ireland, all the the gardens and the courses and the things that are going on.
Yeah,
it means a lot to the garden owners. Like it helps them maintain their gardens and keep them at a standard so people can visit. I think this was probably a tough year for some gardens due to the weather and stuff. Footfall was a bit low. So yeah, it's support for visiting gardens, people that are opening the gardens, and I mean they're exceptional. So
yeah, they're exceptional, and as well as that, for the people that are visiting, they're inspirational as well. So you can go and you can take little snippets and bring them home, and try and translate them into your own place. So
and it's something that I do. Like you keep putting it off and say I'll go next weekend, but then when you do go and you visit, like it is such a lovely day out.
Yeah,
it's so worth it. And maybe then if you get a voucher, that's the incentive to.
Yeah, for sure. Get you going. And there's no doubt a lot of the people that we're talking about on these garden trails and open gardens within Ireland, particularly, a lot of them have been on the podcast, and they're all so generous with their information in terms of So if you go to the garden, they're more than happy to chat with you. And
well, that's why we do it. I mean, we love it. It's the interaction with people and the feedback, and the odd compliment here and there helps. It keeps us motivated. And not something we're going to do forever. So when we do it, we want to really enjoy it, and we do it for the love of it, to be honest. So
and it's making an impact as well. So
It
it's
is.
it's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rosie, we'll switch across to you. Have you vouchers on your list?
Well, I agree with everything Paula, that's why I was making faces there with poor Paula. And if you go on some of those travel department trips, you'll probably end up with me as your guide, because I do a few of them. I'm not doing Chelsea, but I'm doing Malvern next year, so
Brilliant.
that should be good. And I agree totally. I think that's a wonderful idea for the Dublin Garden Trail voucher. I think that's fantastic. There's so many wonderful gardens in this country, and you think you've been to a lot of them. And in fact, my brother, the other brother, gave me and my sister gift vouchers to go to Wildside Garden down in Wicklow, down towards, actually, no, more towards Arklow. And I didn't really know what it was before I went, but oh my goodness, the passion. These people, in 7 years, they've built 30 ponds, planted 13,000 trees. So they're rewilding this.
Yeah.
You can get gift vouchers, and they bring you on this tour. They're so worthwhile, it's absolutely fantastic. And I'd never been there. We only got to go there about a month ago, so I heartily agree with Paula on the gift voucher for visiting gardens or for, garden tours. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. That's a garden I hadn't come across, or it's rewilding. So it's not a garden per se, but it's not somewhere I had come across at all up until a couple of weeks ago.
Amazing.
And I've just started to follow them online, so I haven't been yet, but it looks amazing.
I couldn't get over was like in 7 years they have turned, and I think it was used for sheep farming before, so it was really kind of denuded of any nature or anything like that. And I think it's 17.5 acres. They've built a barn, so you get like a slideshow, and they've got those night vision cameras, so they've captured all the images of the wildlife that has actually come back in a mere 7 years. There's everything. There's insects, there's hedgehogs, there's frogs, there's bats. They've got 8 of the 9 species of bats in Ireland are actually in that garden now, and 30 ponds all around the place. There's ponds, small ones, big ones, and then 13,000 trees. And then they had a little acorn nursery, which I thought was amazing. So they had oak trees in various stages. They had just the acorn sitting on little pots, and then they had little tiny ones about this size, all the way up to kind of 6- and 7-year-old ones ready to plant out.
Brilliant.
Super place to support,
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And I know they're doing a lot of, you can do open days and corporate tours and every sort of tour. So yeah, it's a nice, seems like a brilliant place. Must speak to them actually at some point.
There you go.
I'm just wondering why I wasn't invited that day.
My brother bought me. My brother brought me.
Okay. I'll go again.
Moving swiftly along. Okay. So everybody loves welly boots, right?
Yeah.
And I've been given various shades of different wellies over the years, but when you come in after a really hard day and the boots are nearly stuck onto your foot, and you're hot and you're sweaty, and you just can't get them off. So get a boot jack. See what?
Brilliant.
Yeah,
they're the best joke, honestly, because you put your foot here, put the boot here.
Yeah.
It just, here's one I prepared earlier, like that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And if you really want to splash out, you can get one with the brushes each side.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you really like the person you're giving it to.
All the muck as well as everything else. There you go. A boot jack.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a good idea. And what about wellies themselves? So
yeah, I've tried every different variety of wellies, and I have Dunlop wellies. I've used the Hunter wellies, but they keep cracking, so sorry. But what have I got at the moment? I think they're French. Is it Aigle? Because they're posh wellies, but by goodness, they're strong wellies and they're brilliant. There's a great shop near me in Navan, and in fact, I just went in there, and they do a lot of hunting and fishing stuff.
Yeah.
So I got really good wellies in there. But I also got an amazing jacket, and it's got about 10 different pockets in it, because as a gardener, the way Janie, I mean, I have the belt with the, the secateurs, but then you have the gloves, and sometimes you're too hot, so you take off the hat, and if you're up the garden and you end up leaving it on the ground. So I stuff a lot of things into the pockets. So a nice a gardening jacket with lots of pockets.
Yeah, class. Wellies has come up before, and it's a funny one because there is some brilliant ones out there. There's, as you mentioned, like there's the ones that you'll see them, the kind of fancy hunter ones, but they're not really good for working now, let's be honest about it. So, but there is some very good kind of neoprene based ones out there. I think they're kind of good. They're strong. They're warm, they're snug, they're comfortable as well. Because some of the wellies can be a bit plasticky and a bit hard to wear, but something like a neoprene is nice.
What one do you wear, Paula?
I actually got a pair recently in the Decathlon. They're short. I don't like long wellies because I've long skinny legs and they're like spoons in a teacup. And they flop and they just really irritate me. So I really don't like wellies as such. I love my Echo boots. Just for walking, I always go to them. But to be honest, when I have a pair of boots for ages and I need to get a new pair, I get stressed because I do not know which ones to buy. Like it just, I've so many that my feet are so important to me when I'm outside, and I've just made mistakes with so many boots. But I have 2 pairs at the minute. I prefer slip-on. The lace ones can annoy me.
Yeah, the half ones are definitely nicer to wear when you're inside gardening.
Soft top if you can get them.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else in the clothing?
Waders, if you've a pond.
Waders, yeah.
And they're really hard to get small waders. I don't know, they must never think that women wear waders or go fishing or anything like that, because you get them and the flipping thing is up here. So anyway, waders, extra small. If you're listening.
Target is set.
Yeah.
The waiters with a ticket to Chelsea inside.
There you go.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else on the list, Rosie?
Lots.
Lots. That's good.
I've got markers for plant pots. You can get fancy ones, but like you can get ceramic ones, or you can get lovely. I'm back to Rosie again, but see these? These are really, if you have a nice tree and you want, if you're certainly for Paula and I, when you're walking people around the garden and then somebody says, and what's that? And you get a brain freeze and you go, it's a Cornuscusa Miss Satomi, or, again, that's, Rosie and Mark who make these. And, but you can get them, you can get little ceramic ones, you can get, various different types. And I just think they're very useful. What else have I got here? I've got my 2.
They're also dog proof. Sorry for interrupting. Right. They're dog proof. My Millie loves labels, so she can't run away with them. So they're perfect.
That's good. Well, there you go.
And they're blackboard, are they? They're like a little blackboard top on them.
It's actually it's a piece of slate.
Oh, class.
So it's a slate that is cut, and then they drilled a hole in it.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
So clever, and it's very useful. And then they do different lengths in the actual spike there, so I just find that one particularly handy.
Nice, yeah, classy looking.
That's Rosabelle plant supports there. I've got solar lights for your garden, if that's your thing. That could be a nice gift. You can get some really nice ones. The markers for plant seed storage tins, because I don't know, when you get your seeds, some of them come with little dividers, which I would never use. But anyway, I just to lump them all in the one place and keep them dry is good. And then, at Christmas, I was talking about the bulbs, but do you know the amaryllis bulbs that you can get? And you can get them in every supermarket. And I know maybe you think that that's not a lot of thought gone into it, but you'd be glad, after, because if you plant them up, they're fabulous, and within a couple of weeks, they're genuinely a really
when it flowers, it's special.
I've managed to keep them. I put them in the greenhouse for the summer, just on the ground, and I let them dry out. And then around this, well, actually about a month ago, I started to water and feed them again. So hopefully they'll flower again in time for Christmas,
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, brilliant.
No.
And Paula, how's your list going?
Nearly at the end now. Just the RHS membership is a nice one as well. I mean, they're visiting gardens every year, so if that would be a nice one.
So that's the RHSI or the
RHSI,
Yeah.
membership,
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's a nice one as well. And they do a lot of, I think you might know better, but I think if you're a member, they do a lot of kind of monthly Zooms, and
They do,
they
yeah.
bring on expert speakers and so on.
And they're excellent. They're all really, really good.
Yeah, that's a really nice one. And then obviously you have access to the partner gardens around the country then as well.
You can come here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big balls. Yeah, I think that's really it.
That's your list.
So,
We'll go back to Rosie now, because I think you're about halfway through. Are you, Rosie?
How'd you guess? No, I was actually, I did see something there that I hadn't. Oh yeah, back to clothes. Knee pads. You know the way
yeah.
you always see those kneelers, and I don't know, but I mean the kneelers are, personally, I find them a bit of a pain. But if you are going to be, because you have to keep moving it.
Yeah.
You can get some good knee pads, and if you can get the ones with the Velcro, because then they adjust to whatever size your legs are.
Yeah.
And, it just can be handy if you are doing a lot of bulb planting or something like that, because if you are down on the knees that are getting older and older.
Yeah.
So it does
No, that's a brilliant gift, and there is some really good ones out there that that are durable and look a little bit decent as well. Not that matters massively, because once you kneel on them once, they're dirty anyway. But they are really good, and as you said, the kneeling pads, they can look really pretty and all the rest of it. But if you're moving around or you're planting bulbs, you're constantly having to stand up to move it, or hoosh over to one side so you can move it forward, and they're not ideal really. No, the knee pads are much better.
I use those if I am going to be planting a lot of bulbs.
Yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant idea. If I was to go to both of you now, and I might even give you a minute on it. So let's say gardening gift, money no object. What would that be? And then if you want to drop a hint for just a normal Christmas gift for yourselves for this year, what would those be? Or have we already covered them?
I think actually, Paula, probably, I think the idea of gifting somebody a garden trip is wonderful, because then you can visit, whether it's with the travel department or Jimmy Blake does garden tours, and to go away with a gardener who actually knows a bit about gardening too. I think that's just really, if you are really into your gardens, and there's some spectacular places to visit. So that would be my, I mean, there's the gardens. I mean, I've been to Italy, and I was in lots of the gardens in England last year, and oh my goodness, the choices are amazing. And then Chelsea, like Paula said, and Kuchenhof is amazing. If you've never been, what an amazing place to go.
Yeah.
10 million tulips, or 10 million bulbs, all in the one garden.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, kind of. I haven't been. Have both of you been there?
I haven't yet. No.
There you go.
So there you go. There's your hint dropped.
Well, I had a ride on more on my list, but yeah, that's instead.
So if it came down to it, which would you choose, the ride on or the trip?
I'd take the ride on first, yeah. Mine's giving trouble, so yeah, I would. I'd take the ride on more. But no, I am in agreement of, getting your garden trip. I've done it. I've been on one of Jimmy Blake's tours, and I still remember it. I came home so inspired. Like I did the Serenity Garden after seeing a garden on the trip. It's such an easy way of traveling. If you're not good at traveling on your own, or if you have, a bit of anxiety about booking a trip yourself and booking the gardens, it's all done for you. I mean, you just turn up at the airport, and Rosie there will look after you for the 3 or 4 days. And it's, everything's booked for you, and you just meet on the bus. You're taken to the gardens, and you're back at a certain time, and it's just stress-free, and you get to see just exceptional gardens that you probably wouldn't see otherwise. So it's a special present.
Yeah. No, without doubt. And I suppose it's you know, for gardeners, it's like the trips that go for farmers that go to Agritechnica every year.
Yeah.
You're getting on a bus with 20, 30, 50 people who are all, you know, the same frame of mind, going for the same reasons, interested in the same things. So even the bus journey will be interesting. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of the same with, you know, with your gardening trip. Everybody's on the same path. They're interested in the same things. They're going to be at different stages. They'll have different types of garden. And I think, yeah, as I said, the chats on the bus will be as good as, you know, the gardens will inspire you, but the chats on the bus will be brilliant as well. So I think that would be a really great gift. And it's a little bit of escapism as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're getting away from the, you know, the slog of your own garden for a little bit to
Absolutely. And you need to do that, even like if you were, you know, opening your garden or whatever, you do need to get out there and see other people's gardens. But when you're going on that trip, you're going with like-minded people.
yeah.
And you don't have to be with them all the time either. You can just wander off and do your own thing for a while. But the camaraderie is lovely, and it is just, you meet lovely people, and yeah, it's definitely the best present on the list.
Yeah. Nice one.
Apart from the,
Sorry, Rosie.
apart from the ride-on lawnmower, Paula.
Yeah. Depends on what size it is, Rosie.
A nice utility vehicle.
I don't think my chimney is big enough, so it's not coming this year.
You can bring the key down and just leave it outside. Yeah. So on my list, and I'll go to quickly glance through it, see if there's anything that was different. So some of the tools, do either of you use a hurry knife?
Never heard of that.
I have actually Porrick bought it for me. It's like a trowel version of one. It's got it's a serrated edge on one side of the trowel and a really strong handle. So it's not quite the hurry, but and if you are buying it, buy the proper one, because a friend of mine got a cheap version and she put it into the ground and it broke the first time. So
yeah, definitely. It has come up on it before. I don't use one, but I know a lot of people use them and find them fantastic. I think the original one is the Milwaukee one.
Yeah.
And I saw today Belmeadow Flowers put it up. They've just restocked them for Christmas. So that's a nice one.
Is it a stocking filler or is it a present?
Ooh, it's I don't think you get away with it as a stocking filler. It's
Okay.
Well, it's okay as a stocking filler, but it's yeah, I think you'd be looking for something more along the lines of the ride-on for the main present.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I also have this one as well. See, I call it my Adam Frost tool. For anybody who's watching Gardener's World, Adam is always on his knees.
Oh yeah.
You know, planting with
One of those.
what do you call this? My Adam Frost trowel. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. Especially if it's raised beds and you're putting in your veg or your cut flowers. The soil needs to be loose, but
yeah.
really handy. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant. I can't think of the name of it offhand now.
I can't either.
It's it's not going to come to me now, but they are brilliant, and they're starting to become more popular, as you say. Adam Frost uses it the whole time, and they are starting to become available in Ireland. They're a very, very useful tool. Yeah,
I actually bought it in Chelsea.
Yeah.
And my sister said, "How are you going to get that through
security?"
Well, yeah, I did.
It's amazing you say that, but here's one I don't know if you see this. Do you see this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you know the way you're not allowed to bring plants in anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that, but look, it's a metal plant that I saw in Chatsworth in the shop.
Yeah.
And carried that home in my backpack. And it was really funny. So I had that and a dragon for my son, and I was stopped by security, and he told me that it was a weapon of mass destruction. And I looked at him and I was so gullible. I was like, oh, really? No, it's just for the garden. And then he just started to laugh and he said, go on. You know, so there you go. So because I couldn't get a real plant, I bought a metal one. Looks really nice.
It does look nice. It's class looking, actually.
It's in a pot, and the pot is the same color. So, okay, I'm gonna have to try and hold it now, because if I put it on the ground, it's going to make a really big bang.
as I glanced through, then I had clothing on the list. I had a glass house on the list, but that's a tricky one as well because it would be you'd need to know the person that's where it was going to be situated. Would it suit the garden? Would it suit the size and so on? But it would be a class present, and it has come up before.
Yeah.
I had Roosevelt plant supports on it. I
Yeah.
had David Aston roses on it. I don't think there's too many gardeners that would turn those down. And then, yeah, the question mark on the plants and trees. And we
And
kind of,
but just even a gift voucher for your if you do know your friend or your sister or your mother or your aunt or whoever it happens to be. I mean, personally, like a gift voucher for your local garden centre that you go to all the time is fantastic.
yeah,
Because,
without doubt.
then you get to choose, or somewhere like that sell unusual plants like, like Mount Venus Nursery or
Yeah.
rareplants.ie. I mean, my local is Ratoath Garden Centre, so I'm always thrilled with.
I love it too. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a guilt-free way of buying plants.
Absolutely. We need to choose Paula.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Actually, my mother-in-law gets it for Christmas every year. She gets a voucher for the local garden centre, and it's her trip. We pick her up and bring her, and she'll get her bed and plants and her bits and pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll last her all year. I don't know how she does it. Like, she'll just go in and get exactly what she wants, and she leaves. I'd have it. I'd blow it in 10 minutes.
So you want you want the never-ending voucher then?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Right. So that's a good one to add to the list. The never-ending voucher for the local garden.
Well, he'd say I have it already, I think.
So that it's been a very, very similar list, but with we were very heavily loaded on tools at the start, and that was good, because they're all very functional, and I do think it's important to buy good quality things because that you're not going to be, as you said, you're not going to be throwing them away the following year, or and I think when you get something of that quality as well, it lasts, but you'll also mind it a bit better, and you'll respect it a bit better, and it's something that you will have for years. So I think when you are buying quality is always the best thing.
It makes your life easier in the garden if you have good tools. I mean, there's nothing worse. It's like doing any job. If you don't have the right tools, you're just going to get pure frustrated, and the work is just going to be harder. So I'm all for making your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah, and next year's version of this, I think I'm looking forward to having your book on it, mentioned on it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you made a commitment there somewhere in the middle to write a book. No pressure, no, none whatsoever. It's been a really, really interesting chat. I loved the list. Very similar in some ways to previous years, but it's great to have the perspective of two good gardeners and two self-confessed lovers of Christmas as well, and two good gardening friends as well. So final question for both of you: if you had to buy a question, or if you had to buy a present, Christmas present for each other, what would it be?
Well, I can answer that one, because for Paula, obviously a Cornus Cusa.
That's too easy, Rosie. Come on.
Or a ride-on lawnmower if I was being generous.
I'm lost. I mean, what can you give Rosie in a garden that is just not already in it? That's a hard one.
Yeah,
that's going
it's already there.
Yeah, it's going to take me a while to think of that. I mean, every time I go to Rosie, she gives me plants, but when she comes to me, say, I can't give her that, sure she has it. So she just has. Yeah.
You give her some of your famous cakes then.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Do
you know what she has given me though? She has given me some of her snowdrops. Yeah. And that is like, I have snowdrops from my mum, from Rosie, from a lady near me who has an amazing snowdrop garden. They're all planted in different places, and I just can't wait to see them coming up.
Yeah.
So that to me is just an amazing present.
And something like a snowdrop that's going to be there every year with a bit of meaning in it, like that is a class present. And
yeah, Richard Murphy has given me some as well, and like you know that has come from somebody else's garden, and it's going to be in my garden, so they're just going on in generations, and it's a lovely present.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been a brilliant chat. Loved listening to both of your lists. Quite long list, but very good lists. I think there's kind of something there for every budget. And I think the overriding theme anyway is to try and buy things that are good quality, that last, and that will, make your life easier in the garden, as Paula said there, that they're going to help you in the garden, they're going to make your life easier, and it's going to make it more pleasurable being out there and doing it. There's lots of inspirational gifts there with the trips and so on. So yeah, I think it's a pretty comprehensive list. And Rosie and Paula, thank you very much for coming on Master My Garden podcast.
Pleasure, John. Thank you very much, and happy Christmas to everybody out there. Looking forward to spring.
So that's been this week's episode. Yeah, Christmas gifts for gardeners again. Really interesting list, and as I say, from two exceptional gardeners. So I think there's lots there for everyone. I'll put as many links as I can in the show notes for the various. I think the voucher for the open gardens, I'll put the link for that in the show notes, and as many other vouchers or as many other the links that I can find, I'll put in there as well, so that you can easily get to them. But there's lots of brilliant things out there, brilliant Irish authors of gardening books, gardening courses, vouchers for your local garden centre and so on. So there's loads of ways of, I suppose, supporting local as much as possible and buying quality as much as possible. And a lot of those you'll get inspiration from as well. So I hope that helps you with your shopping list. I hope that Rosie and Paula get the gifts that they've been dropping serious hints there for. And that's been this week's episode. Thanks for listening, and until the next time, happy gardening.